What up, YouTube? This is your boy Liger, one half and duo, and this is episode 10. I want it to be something grandeur, but I want to thank everybody out there who made episode 9 a big thing with journalism, and my point still stands to this day, and it might creep in a little bit into this video, but anyway, this episode is about hype. Right now we have E3 just around the corner. Now, I know, I do know about certain stuff that's going to be played, actually going to be showed at E3. But again, I'm not using my channel. I use my channel for fun and discussion. Not about news, not about anything like that, because that's not what I want to do, because I don't want people to keep on bugging me for everything. And that's something I've learned in the past very quickly, so I'm not doing it now. But everybody's getting hype about certain things over and over and over again. And sometimes gamers, I wonder about you guys, because you guys get hype about certain things, seeing certain things, and like, oh my goodness, this is going to be the greatest game ever, and many times they fall flat. Now, indulge me for a second, because I want to tell a little story why I, and basically Katie, but I, myself, Liger, do not get hype about games, ever. Because of, when I came to America, I came, of course, to America on a scholarship, and to get my degrees. At that time, of course, I was doing my music, which is the other part of my company, traveling around. I met this guy named Kenji, who at the time who was a game designer and a modder, and a console modder. He does custom jobs and stuff like our 3DS and everything. And he gave me a GameCube. Thanks to him, I got a GameCube way before everybody got into Japan. Even in America, I played Smash Bros. Melee before everybody else, because he modded the GameCube to play US and Japanese games with a flip of the switch. And right now it's at my mom's house. Whenever I get it, I'll basically show it off to you guys whenever once I have the chance. But right now, I had a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube. Had some good games. My grades was falling, and I had to keep it about 3.5 to keep my scholarship. So I kind of fell out of gaming, because after a while I've seen a trend of, and it was proven right. Everybody was going towards graphics, not gameplay, not fun, no more like that. And I was just like, I mean, I still love Nintendo. I still love the Final Fantasy 7 games on PlayStation 2. I love a couple games on PlayStation 2. And I had my Sega Dreamcast at the time too, and I was playing fun games on Dreamcast. My Dreamcast was basically a fighter console, because I had all the fighting games. Capcom vs. SK 1 and 2, Mark of the Wolves, Rival Schools, all that stuff. But the thing, and Power Stone, I can't forget Power Stone, because that's a cool game too. I wish that could come back. But everybody knows Metroid skipped the Nintendo 64 era. But then I got the news through EGM's magazine, which I hopefully can scan, and I have the cover of it. I'll scan and put it, and you'll see the video right now, that Metroid was coming to be a first-person shooter on a GameCube. And I was like, oh no. And I saw the screenshots, and it looked horrendous. Now again, it's not saying about a graphic thing, but it looks so crunchy and horrendous, and hopefully you've seen it in the video right now. And I was thinking first party games, man. I mean, first party shooter, I'm sorry. It's like, oh man. Because at that time, I did not fall into the Call of Duty 2 hype, of shooting and everything. That was just not my genre. And I just like, oh man, I hope they don't mess it up. So, with that said, I went into low expectations of that game. Very low. I saw other more screenshots of how Samus looked like, and I was like, okay, alright. But I still wasn't sold on it. Then of course they said, oh, they're bringing out Fusion, which is Metroid 4 at the time, right after happening Metroid, Super Metroid. I was like, oh, that's great. That's a good game, I'll check out. Long story short, again, my friend hooked me up. I got the game before everybody else. Thank you again, Kenji, my boy. You my hookup. That's why I say I like this guy. I love him. He's like family. Anyway, I of course played. Even before I said that, I told my grandmother at the time, I said, you know what? If this game sucks, so me and she were just talking and having fun. If this game sucks, I am done playing video games for sure. And I basically meant it, because I had to focus on my school. I had to get my degrees, because I got 2 degrees, and I wanted to get those. So it's like, whatever. So of course, when Fusion came out, I played Fusion first, because I know what it was, and it was a fun game. I liked it. It was linear, but I don't care. It was a good story, good gameplay. Of course, that's why I always stand by gameplay. Then I put in Metroid Prime, the first one. And because my expectation was so low, that thing shocked the hell out of me and blew my mind. I ain't say the perfect, I said one of the greatest games out there that was made. I am so happy that they did the retro, and Shigeru Miyamoto with it, because remember, Shigeru Miyamoto went there and said, hey, this won't work, that won't work, let's do this, let's do that. Again, the next thing that a lot of people keep on forgetting, when Nintendo's gonna do these kind of things, they always send, like Inuma did with Hyrule Warriors, and also Iwata did with Bayonetta. They went on, and also Takada, they went and they talk about what the polish needs to be, and take your time to make these games. That's one thing I love about Nintendo. They ask them to tell them to take their time and make their games. The other game developers that does, like I said, Naughty Dog's doing that to Uncharted 4 and stuff like that. That's good. People who do that I like, including indie guys who gotta prove their things. They do the same thing too. But the point was, that game blew my mind. I enjoyed that game fully. I was immersed in the world. I loved it. It wasn't the first. I'm happy it wasn't dual stick. I like the way that Nintendo did it that way, because I'm not a dual stick person. I'm happy they did that. And of course with Metro Prime 3 with the Wii Remote, that basically solid me to say, hey, this is the only way I'm gonna play first person shooter. That's why I went out and bought an adapter for my PC to play Call of Duty or whatever shooting game that I think was cool at the time with the nunchuck or Wii Remote. But anyway, after that, I said to myself, this is why I am a Nintendo person. If you want to call it the Holy Grail or whatever, something that I got baptized or whatever, you can call it that, whatever it is. But that's when I was like, this is why I like Nintendo. That's the day. Now, I sold my PlayStation 2. I didn't. It sold it to a friend of mine, which is good, and he had all the games and he enjoyed it. Nothing was bad about the PlayStation 2. It was a good console. But I kept my Sega Dreamcast, because I still have it to this day. I'm playing some great games on there. But from then on, that made my point that unless the console, PlayStation or Xbox, proves me a lot more exclusives to make me want to buy the console, I would. And PlayStation is close to that because they have all the JRPGs, but not the ones that kind of like that interest me a lot, except for like Tales and stuff and whatever. At that point, this is one of the reasons that made me say I like Nintendo and I would love to play, keep on playing their games and their consoles, because of what innovations they did with that game. With that said though, let's get into a lot of stuff. From that day on, I never looked at hype games ever again. I never said, oh man, this is a good game, I can't wait for it to come out. No. As you could tell by when I did my Zelda thing, Zelda got pushed back. Boo-hoo, I don't care. As long as the game is good and it comes out, I'm happy with it. I'm not hyped for Zelda. I am not hyped for Star Fox. I am not hyped for Xenoblade. It looks Xenoblade X. It looks like those look like great games to be playing. I'm not hyped for them. I'm a person now that waits for when the game comes out. I see the trailers and it looked nice and CGI 90% of the times, and I'm like, oh wow, at least I got the announcement. This game is coming out. That's good. I'm happy for it. But until I see gameplay, I'm not hype about it. Should I say not to say I'm looking forward to. I look forward to games because I want the gaming market to keep on going. But there's a reason why a lot of gamers say there's a crash coming because of this hype and the letdown over and over and over again. When I looked at Watch Dogs and my co-workers and employees were like, man, this is gonna be a great game. And I was like, yeah, it looks good, it looks promising. And they were like, why are you not surprised? I'm like, well, I want to see what happens. And then of course when the game came out, they were like, man, how you saw that was coming? I said, I ain't saw that coming. I just don't get hype over games. The same thing goes for Mortal Kombat X. If I'm gonna buy that game, it's gonna be the year-end edition. Because it looks like a good game. Everybody's having fun. I'm not essing on anybody's parade out there who's having fun with the game. But to see all the DLC and the practices that's going on in AAA market, that stuff turns me away. We are going towards more of graphics and more locked behind content to get these games that we want now. And gameplay's pushed aside. We're supposed to be playing games for fun. Again, when a game becomes a chore, I don't want to play that game. When it's fun, that's when I love the game as its pure essence, and I would never diss any game for that. Now you have, Star Wars Battlefront coming out. EA, not the greatest track record in the last, let me see, 7, 8 years when it comes to AAA games, but people still fall for them over and over again because they want that game. Okay, you know what, guys? Again, the game trailer that just came out looks nice. It looks good. Do I think it's gameplay? No, I think mostly it's CGI. All that stuff that happening on that thing, you're not gonna be doing. If they do that, that would be cool, but I could guarantee you it's not. It's gonna be a different setup. The Battlefield games in the past were good games, so don't take it as I'm bashing the game. But the hype, everybody's getting crazy for these trailers. I don't see it. And unless I got the game in my hand and I'm playing it, or I see a definitive person, like example, again, it's because I'm a Nintendo fan, okay, like Treehouse. If they do a Treehouse kind of thing, or at E3, where you show the guys playing a game, not on stage, because that's all crazy stuff. We learned that with Watch Dogs, how somebody could play from the back or play on the PC. But play right there in a room where you have fun with the games, then I'll be like, oh, that's good. I can't wait to play that game. The hype train has been, every time the hype train is getting up, somebody always stops it. And it's really not really the crowd per se. It's mostly the developers or the publishers itself. Most of the publishers, because they don't care what the developers think. They just give them money and have fun with it and say, hey, lock this on these DLC, lock this content. Let's make more money out of these fools who want to buy this game. Look, there's a bunch of games coming out. I'll say this, I've not bought many DLCs. A lot of people ask me on my channel, you have something against DLCs? No, they're only, and why do I defend Nintendo with DLCs? Here's the reason. Nintendo has a better percentage of good DLCs. I am against Nintendo with the Smash skins. That should have been an upgrade. That should have never been, you pay 75 cents for that. That should have been a simple upgrade into the channel. But again, as I put in a comment on Google+, gamers always say, hey Nintendo, get with the times. And Nintendo's saying, oh, you mean with free-to-play, DLC skins, and mobile? No, then Nintendo's basically saying, shut the hell up, man. What the hell are you talking about? Those kind of situations comes up time and time again and makes people think differently. The reason I like Nintendo is because it's different from Sony and Xbox. The same thing I would like Sony and Xbox. They're different. They're not the same. Everybody's different. But again, the Sony and Xbox have the same library, triple third party over their consoles. If I'm gonna buy those games, again, what I said, I buy it on PC. That's just a better version of it. But again, it's not a bash against those guys. If you have the console, pick those games up and enjoy them. But the hype is getting crazy. There are going to be some games again that I know that's going to play at E3. That's going to get people hype. But again, calm the hype down. Be happy that the game is game made. That's the way I look at it. Be happy that the game is being made and get ready for play when the time comes out. Don't let trailers, you know, put a wool over your eyes and you're mesmerized like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. When I saw Zelda, I was like, oh, that's cool, that's great. And he said, oh wow, and Inuma said it's going to be open world. Oh, that's great too. And of course, Shigeru Miyamoto came a month after that, said this is not going to be the open world that you all think about. That made me think, hey, I know what's going on right there. And of course, when they did it at the VGA Awards, and of course the biggest gripe was there was nothing to do. Inuma now is doing what I hate what game developers doing, and I hope that Zelda's going to be a good game. I'm going to check it out. Of course, I'm going to play it. I'm going to enjoy it because I love all Zelda games, really. But they're padding the game. And that's the kind of stuff that's getting irritating now with a lot of people. Gamers have now become so crybaby about they want the perfect thing, even though there's no such thing as perfect in this world, that developers now are doing crazy stuff that hurts the game itself sometimes. And when the publishers see they got to put more money into it, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to lock the content behind more DLC. It is what it is. You guys, basically, most of you guys who are hype about certain games, you asking for these DLC to be locked behind content because your fervor is too loud. Then you make all your videos and everything that the developers are looking at like this, and the publishers are, you know, rubbing their greedy hands like, we got these suckers hook, line, and sinker. That's what's going to happen. So I said again, if a trailer gets announced, be happy that the game is coming out. Don't be hype over it. I can't control that of you. Just know there's a big drop from hype to like, damn, this is not what the game is promised. Because I saw a video that somebody posted, and they're talking about, oh, the difference between Xenoblade X at that time and compared to the trailer before. Are you supposed to be shocking me by showing that there's a difference between now and then? And is a downgrade? I don't give a dang about downgrades. If the gameplay is fun, then that's all I care about. That's the kind of retro gamer I am. Fun gameplay would always trumps anything over. If I'm having fun with the game, it always trumps graphics, story, everything, because that's what I grew up with. But I just wanted to let people know where me and Katie stand once. And again, if you guys are hyped for these games, good luck for you. If it's a letdown, I know I'm gonna see tons of videos about, oh, this was not what I promised, this is not what I promised. You're not making a game, you don't know how it goes, you know, and it was your fault to gain hype in the first place. So with that said, as usual, there's no perfect game out there. What's perfect to you is not perfect to me. What's perfect to me is not perfect to you. Simply play your game.